Rich People Problems, an excerpt by Kevin Kwan. Elements of the story, Rich People Problems. The characters are Bettina Ortiz y Mena, Julie, the tourist, Duke of Glencora, bodyguards of the Duke's special guest, and Alfred Shang. The excerpt of the story was held one sunny midday at Sip Sip restaurant on Harbor Island in Bahamas. Plot: the former Miss Venezuela, Bettina Ortiz y Mena, was on Harbor Island to eat lunch in her desired spot in Sip Sip. But she was fumed to find a group of noisy and glamorous tourists taking her presumed spot. She stormed off to complain to the chef and owner of the restaurant, Julie, who informed her that the noisy and glamorous tourists are actually people with big title. Conflict: Bettina Ortiz y Mena, former Miss Venezuela, was about to eat lunch at Sip Sip in her desired spot at the restaurant, the corner table on the terrace. But to her surprise, the spot is already taken by the large noisy group as Bettina described. Climax: Bettina stormed off to complain to Julie, the chef and owner of the restaurant, and Julie informed her that the noisy tourists that took Bettina's desired spot are actually people with big titles. Theme: in this excerpt, Bettina, an elitist, ridiculed the appearance of the humble, rich people who is too rich to care about their appearance and what people think about them, so they just dress simply. Bettina Ortiz y Mena was not accustomed to waiting. A former Miss Venezuela and Miss Universe runner-up, of course, the exceedingly bronzed strawberry blonde was these days the wife of Miami auto parts tycoon Herman Ortiz y Mena. Today, she wanted the corner table on the terrace at Sip Sip, her favorite lunch spot on Harbor Island. She wanted to sit on one of the comfy orange canvas director's chair and stare out at the gently lapping turquoise waters while eating her kale Caesar salad. But there was a large, noisy group taking up the entire terrace, and they didn't seem in much hurry to leave. Bettina fumed as she glared at the tourists happily savoring their lunch in the sun. This 3.5-mile-long paradise with its pristine pink sand beaches was one of the best-kept secrets in the Caribbean. A heaven for the very, very rich, filled with quaint little wood houses painted in shades of sherbet, charming boutiques, chic open-front mansions turned into inns, and 5-star restaurants to rival St. Bart's. Tourists should have to take a SAL exam before being allowed to set foot on the island. Feeling like she had been patient long enough, Bettina stormed into the kitchen, the fringe on her crocheted Pucci kaftan top shaking furiously as she made a beeline for the woman with a shock of pixie-cut hair manning the main stove. "Julie, honey, what's the dealio? I've waited more than 15 minutes for my table," Bettina sighed to the owner of the restaurant. "Sorry, Bettina, it's been one of those days. The party of 12 on the terrace showed up just before you did," Julie replied as she handed off a bowl of spicy conch chili to a waiting server. "But the terrace is your prime spot. Why on earth did you let those tourists take up all that space?" "Well, that tourist in the fishing cap is the Duke of Glencora. His party just boated over from the Windermere. That's his Royal Hisman you see moored off the coast. Isn't it the most handsome sailboat you've ever seen?" "I'm not impressed by big boats," Bettina huffed, although secretly she was rather impressed by people with big titles. From the kitchen window, she surveyed the party assembled on the terrace with new eyes. These aristo-British types were such a strange breed. Sure, they had their Savile Row suits and their heirloom tiaras, but when they traveled, they looked so painfully frumpy. It was only then that Bettina noticed 3 tan, well-built men in fitted white t-shirts and black Kevlar pants sitting at the adjacent table. The guys weren't eating but sat watchfully, sipping glasses of seltzer water. I assume that's the Duke's security detail. They couldn't be more obvious. Don't they know that we're all billionaires here in Bilang and this isn't how we roll? Actually, those bodyguards belong to the Duke's special guest. They did a whole sweep of the restaurant before the party arrived. They even searched my walk-in freezer. See that Chinese fellow seated at the end of the table? Bettina squinted through her Vior ecstasy sunglasses at the 70-something Asian man. Oh, I didn't even notice him. Am I supposed to know who he is? That's Alfred Chen, Julie said in a harsh tone. Bettina giggled. He looks like their chauffeur. Doesn't he look like that guy that used to drive Jane Wyman around the Falcon Crest? Julie, who was trying to focus on searing a cut of tuna to perfection, shook her head with a tight-lipped smile. From what I hear, that chauffeur is the most powerful man in Asia. What's his name again? The end.